All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, going to shout out the sponsors real quick. Sovereign Extracts, if you need some CBD oils, CBD cartridges, THC, some hybrid options, you can check out a lot of great product via Sovereign Extracts. But also big shout out to USG Canada, putting out a ton of great apparel for boxers, MMA fighters, and for fans alike. And really excited to talk to the individual I have on today's show. They've got a fight going at Brave CF42, which is happening on September the 24th. It is a flyweight bout between Sean Santella and Jose Shorty Torres. And I've got Jose on the show. How's your day going so far there, man?
I'm still alive, so I guess that's a good sign. How about yours?
Yeah, no, I mean, any day above dirt's a good one. So, I mean, I kind of can resonate with that and appreciate the sentiment too. But I also noticed you had a birthday earlier on in August there. So I'm noticing we're both August babies there. So happy belated there, man.
I appreciate that. Are you a fellow Leo?
Oh, I'm a late August baby. We're kind of bookending the month there. I'm an August 29th lad.
No, well, never mind then. No, no, man. It's been a great time. It's always a crazy time. Somehow I'm always in training camp, so I can't have cake and all that stuff, which is always a big bummer to me. Because if people know my social media and how I am naturally, I am everything sweets and fattening food. It's just my life. So I have no clue how I make weight sometimes or how I'm a fighter, but I'm excited for this fight to happen. It's been about almost a year and a half since my last fight, and none of it due because of injury. It's just either mental stuff or fights being postponed or right now COVID. So, I'm really, really excited to put on a phenomenal performance against a really high-touted veteran in this incredible tournament.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that too because it looks like a great card in that regard too. Like, I mean, in the sense that there's a couple other quarterfinal bouts on the same card as well. Like, how cool is it to be part of this tournament structure? Like, I know for a lot of fighters, that's like an express goal in their career to be part of a competitive architecture in that kind of way. Was that a similar thing for you? Like, were you always wanting to be in like a tournament kind of structure and get those type of experiences?
Well, it's crazy because my amateur days, if people know anything about me, I did the UMUF and the IMUF, which is pretty much the national and the world tournament. So when you go to worlds, or excuse me, when you qualify for nationals, there's 3 fights in pretty much 1 week in 3 days. And then same thing for worlds, it's 5 fights in 5 days, if not 6 days. So it's back to back to back to back to back. For me, I got lucky enough to fight 4 times both years, and I won worlds twice. And it's dude, you don't have time to prepare for people. This is a little bit different because you're fighting probably, every 2 months, depending on COVID and how, the world is going to react to all this stuff. But, if everything goes well, I fight Sean Santella. If everything goes well, I fight the fighter or the winner between Marcel Adair and Dustin Ortiz. Everything goes well, I fight the winner who won the opposite side of the bracket. So, I have time to prepare for these guys compared to what I did at Worlds. I don't have, all I know is the guys from Ukraine, and maybe this is his style, and that's a maybe, So this gives me a little more time to prepare, but I like this style. I grew up as a wrestler as well, so being in tournaments has been my thing. So for me, it's no pressure. It just adds more to the goal.
Yeah, I guess just with it being less common in the pro ranks, but that's a great sort of thing to note there. I mean, picking up multiple distinctions through IMAF and stuff like that. So just the confidence level already there. But you mentioned some awareness of your opponent there when we were kind of talking in the intro there. Just your awareness of him being more of like a veteran opponent and stuff like that. Just a myriad of fights to their credit and stuff like that. Like, how much have you checked out of like tape on them and stuff like that? Like, are you someone who's like ardently studying what your opponent's doing, or is it kind of like focus on your own efforts and be optimally prepared with what you're doing on fight night?
Well, definitely I want to be optimally prepared, but I try my best not to look at the whole tournament. My next opponent's probably Marcelo Adair or Dustin Ortiz. Both those guys are very, very different styles. Marcelo Adair being a stand-up fighter, Dustin Ortiz being a ground guy, but I should be focusing on that. Even though they're both phenomenal opponents, I got Sean Santella in front of me, and he's a challenge nonetheless. So Sean Santella is more of a jiu-jitsu-based type of guy, a little wild in the stand-up, but he's so confident on the ground, his stand-up doesn't matter. He's like kind of Yaya or those, Damian Maia, those high-level jiu-jitsu guys where he can just throw haymakers all he wants. Even if he gets dropped in return, he's ready to be on his back. He's ready to be on top. He's ready to be on the ground. So, I have to be very, very smart in this fight because even if it does get to the ground, even though I feel confident, one little slip up, there goes my arm. One little slip up, I'm stuck in a triangle. And I've trained with Sean Santella before. Him and I are good friends. Him and I have texted, try to get each other fights, stuff like that. Flyweights stick together, and with the name Shorty Rock and myself, Shorty, it's the battle of the shorties. It's all love, but it's definitely business. And, we have to go through each other just to get to this next level, this flyweight tournament.
Yeah, and you touch on something very interesting there. Just like as much as there's that competitive dynamic amongst the flyweight ranks, there's also a sense of camaraderie, and as far as like wanting to, maintain the weight class and kind of keep it going and stuff like that. And I mean, it seems like the 125-pound ranks are in a better state than it has been for a while now, just on an international scale. So can you kind of speak to that a little bit? Like, I mean, is there that sort of solidarity that exists in the division? Because I think it's a great weight class myself, but I mean, sometimes you hear on the UFC level, at least in years past, there's talks about folding the division and stuff like that, but it seems like it's healthier than it's ever been on a broad scale.
Yeah, it's weird because I believe, now they can look at it as like a marketing ploy. Yeah, they cut out a lot of guys like myself, Dustin Ortiz, Mateus Nicolau, and so many other, top UFC flyweights. And it's like, damn, you see all these other promotions picking them up, Brave CF, Risen or Ryzen, however you want to pronounce it, Pancrase, and all these different promotions, KSW, Bellator, and I think the UFC sees a little mistake of like, oh, damn, actually a lot of people like this flyweight division, but it could also be a marketing thing where maybe they started cutting these guys and they know they're the biggest division or the biggest promotion in the world, so all these guys want to get back in there. So trying to win this Brave flyweight tournament, trying to win, belts in different promotions is going to help them, get back in there. Me, I can care less. I'm trying to accomplish my goals in Brave first, and that's to be a flyweight and bantamweight champion. But nonetheless, I have 3 fights to accomplish the first goal, and that'll be the end of my contract. And then hopefully everything goes well, and I can sign again and try to accomplish the bantamweight championship too against Stephen Loman if he's still champion by then. But man, there's a lot of disrespect with the small guys. If you look at boxing, you look at other sports, small guys reign supreme. Look at Vasil Lomachenko. Look at Manny Pacquiao. Look at back in the early 2000s with all the Mexican boxers. Everything was just small guys. But for some reason, the UFC especially just never promoted us, and we were extremely belittled by them. I mean, we had Joseph Benavidez versus Sergio Pettis, a title contender shot on UFC Fight Pass before the ESPN Plus deal. And it's like, dude, this guy is number 1 versus 3. How the heck are they a UFC Fight Pass prelim, if not even a prelim nonetheless? This should be on the main card, So, even Demetrius Johnson's record-breaking title defense was a co-main event against I believe, a vacant title shot. So it's just one of those things that it's 50-50. Yeah, we have to do half the job, but the promotion, whatever we sign for, has to really promote us. And I think Brave is doing a phenomenal job doing that and really revitalizing and showing how good us flyweights really are.
Yeah, and I don't understand the mentality of certain people that don't want to actively promote what is, such a technical, exciting division. But like you said, what that, kind of translates to is like a lot of these other promotions really, spotlighting what some of these classes are doing and whatnot. I'm kind of curious though as to like what the dynamic is this time as opposed to like the previous Brave fight. Like I imagine, certain elements of fight week and just the regulatory handling of everything will be a great deal different this time, just the backdrop of the pandemic and all. So can you kind of talk about that? Like has the promotion briefed you kind of on like what certain aspects are going to be at play for this fight week as compared to the last one there?
The little differences are we can only have one corner. So, my fight's going to be in the Kingdom of Bahrain, and they're only allowing one corner with us. So it does limit us compared to other promotions. They're still allowing 3, or championship fights allowing 4 corners. This one right now, it's only 1. So it's like you have to pick your head coach or whoever's able to go at the time. For me, my nutritionist is flying out with me because everyone else sadly just, ends up being busy, and I can't take more than 1. I know we have to take a COVID test before we fly, and then we have to take a COVID test when we land, just, to be as safe as possible. And everything is down to a T. If we need something, they're going to contact us, and everything's going to be given to us in a certain fashion. I won't know specifically until fight week, if not the week before, what the details are, really going to be when it comes to the flight, landing, the hotel, the lunch, the scenarios, and everything compared to, what we used to have is everything open. You just jump in the sauna, 10 guys in the sauna, and do whatever. I'm pretty sure now it's going to be very, very different. But with all those fighters testing negative for COVID, maybe we're all able to jump in the sauna. Maybe we're all able to work out together. Maybe everything is okay. But this will be my first fight back in a year and a half. So, COVID has changed a lot of things. So I'm just, I know definitely masks can be required for a lot of events.
Yeah, but you mentioned the nutrition aspect of what you've been doing with your training lately. Like, how important has the nutrition lifestyle been to what you've been doing as of late? Because it seems like you're firing on all cylinders for sure.
As much as I love to talk smack about him because he's my guy, he's a phenomenal just person in general, and he's very very smart at what he does. When I listen, and this is 100% me, when I listen, when other people have worked with him and listen, they perform at their fullest. When people, and I'm definitely guilty of this, start to slack off or get overconfident at his abilities, then we rely on him too much, and then now we're falling back. And now we're like, Lou, help us. And even though he can get us out of that hole, we're not as predominant or not as confident as what we should have been, going in there, or not as strong as we should have been going in there. For me, it's been a year and a half, man, and I've had, I was supposed to fight in August last year, got pushed back, supposed to fight in November, my father passed away, was supposed to fight March, the COVID hit, then possibly August, COVID was still around. Now in September, it's like, man, all I've been doing is training, 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 and I'm just more motivated than ever to just get in there and show the world what I can really do, especially for not being gone for an injury and for being a person who's been doing this. I was 4 years old. I need to get back in there. It's definitely a mental thing for me. So to fight a very tough opponent, it's a very good test, but it's also an extremely exciting one. So nutrition being by my side and the rest of my team, Dean Thomas, the firm, Master Bob, Lex McMahon, everyone else, I'm more than happy never to really show the world what I can really do. And I'm not just trying to say Titan FC was my heyday, but I just entered my prime. I'm 28, so my best times are yet to come.
Absolutely, man. But you mentioned the tight knit training crew like Dean Thomas and some of the guys that you work with. I mean, it's a great confluence of high level martial arts technique where you guys are growing in that regard. But it seems like a very intimate, like friendly kind of dynamic too, like a little family in its own sort of way. Can you talk to that confluence that exists in that crew there? Because it seems like it really translates in the training.
Yeah, the two people I've been training with the most is Jillian Robertson and Dean Thomas.
Yeah.
Without those two, I think mentally I'd be at a different place. And I talk about my mentality so much just because, again, my father passed away. I was released by the UFC, a promotion I've been fighting to get into for years and was just extremely demoralized and belittled by. So I've gone through my mental struggles. Fighting is taken away from my social life, my life in general, because I travel so much. So being able to have a family, to have friends, to have someone to talk to or people to talk to, and when you're at your lowest point, is an extremely great thing. Having a coach is awesome. Having a smart coach is better, but having someone who you can talk to and really relate to as well is the best thing you can have. That's why I still work with my coach, Master Bob Shermer, as well, where he might not be everywhere I go around the world when I go to train, but I can call him on the phone and I can ask him whatever for advice, and he knows me down to a T. He knows me when I'm panicking. He knows me when I'm stressed or whatever the case may be. He knows how to react when I do certain things to take care of me and make sure I can perform my best. And Dean Thomas and Jillian, honestly, I've been at many camps in the world. This is easily the smallest training camp I've ever been in when it comes to partner wise, coach wise. But this is easily the best I ever had because I finally have the attention I believe I need to be the best in the world.
Yeah, it's also good to have a coach where you can go to the movies and check out Cutthroat City as well.
Yeah, which was funny because he's like, "Hey, we're going to the movies with Tyron tonight." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, cool." And we get to watch movies, have fun, and even man, talking to Tyron, it's crazy because he walked up to me one day, or he walked up to Jillian and I one day. And he goes, "How you guys doing today?" We're like, "Oh yeah, we're good. How about you, champ?" And we're just talking back and forth, and he's just like, "So you guys still have the drive for the sport? Like, you still have the motivation?" We're just like, "Damn, that's a really random question, but that's a really deep question. I've never really been asked that before." And he goes, "Well, I wouldn't be asking it if I didn't understand it." And I'm like, "Damn, you have been through the top. You have been at the bottom. You have been everywhere in between. Damn, I should start asking you questions, to really kind of get in your head because, this sport is extremely mental." I tell people, and I use the analogy, you can have the best machine in the world, but without a proper operator, what's the machine even worth? That machine's just going to stay there, So talking to Tyron, talking to people there, talking to Dean who's been through it all, talking to Nutrition who's worked with some phenomenal athletes, Anthony Pettis, John Jones, Johnny Hendricks, so many more. I mean, talking to these guys that have been through it all has really helped my mindset, and even working with my mindset coach, Andy Murphy. It's been a crazy time, man, but I'm telling you, I'm just extremely excited to get back in there. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, even over the years, just the conversations we've had, it always has seemed like you're a very mentally strong kind of guy and you focus on that part of the game. But it seems like even more recently, you've just even got to that next tier. Like, it seems like an interesting combination of you're able to appreciate your past accomplishments without resting on laurels, like just, being the Titan FC double champ and certain pictures I've seen on social media. But you're also, like I said, not resting on those laurels and kind of thinking towards the future goals of wanting to become the double champ within Brave. Can you kind of talk to that, place with like the state of the, mental psychology and just where you're at with that? Because it seems like a cool place where you can appreciate what you've been able to accomplish, but still, comprehensively navigate the path to the next goal.
Yeah, for me, I know what I've been able to accomplish, and I'm very happy. But I've never expected to get this far in my life, and to now realize the capabilities I have, and go, damn, I can do all these things. I've trained with some of the best athletes in the world: Cup Swanson, T.J. Dillashaw, John Dotson. I mean, all the guys at Jackson Wink, Training Lab, Dwayne Ludwig's, Rufus Spore, Henry Hoofs, Mark Henry's, 8th American Top Team, Coconut Creek, and that gym is huge with bodies. Dean Thompson, all these guys. I've trained with some of the best athletes in the world, and I've gone toe to toe and even pushed back so many phenomenal people. I know I'm tough, but now I need someone to really kind of hone my skills. And Dean Thomas, Lee Tricia, my team, my circle has gotten extremely small in the best way possible. And for me mentally, like I said, without a proper operator, that machine is worthless. And I've kind of known that. Looking back, if you want to even say my heyday right now with Titan FC, I was able to come to Titan FC double weight class champ, first ever in his history, 3-time defending, do what Conor McGregor did at 5, or I did at 5-0 and defended a belt. Conor did it at 14-2 and never defended a belt. So for me to start looking at those accolades and start to appreciate what I've done is amazing. But it's one of those things that's like I'm extremely impatient and I'm upset that I haven't done more. So I just want to keep on accomplishing bigger things and show people that I'm just another shorty from the neighborhood actually trying to do these things. Because without a goal, just trying to get up there and do whatever is whatever. For me, it's I need to have fun. And I noticed when I was a Titan FC champ, I was having a phenomenal time. But when I had my 2 UFC fights, the stress, the everything behind the scenes, the ultimatums and all that stuff I received from the UFC, it didn't make it fun. It made it more of a business. It made it more of a job. And I don't feel like torturing myself, 10 hours a day, training every single day to not get what I believe I deserve or even get what I've worked so hard to achieve. So for me, especially with this Brave title, quarantine, all this time alone, it's really trying to focus on myself and go, this is what I need to do to take care of myself. And, my ultimate goal is to be a teacher. So to be a coach, but I need to go through my MMA career first. And I want all the accolades I can possibly achieve, to build the best team possible later on my life and have all those experiences to be able to teach almost every single person I possibly can to the fullest extent. So for me, I'm going through all the pain and agony now, but with the proper mindset and having fun instead of trying to force myself through these things that I've learned before. If I force it, it's never going to work out that way, man.
Yeah, but I mean, it's cool that you have like the communal support and like people rallying behind you locally. Like I saw on social media you were doing, I think it was like a jog around the town kind of thing, and there's a big old mural of you out there in the world. Can you kind of talk about that, because that looked really cool, man?
Yeah, there's actually 3 in Chicago, which is
Nice.
amazing. I think there's 3 in Chicago, and there's going to be one more coming up soon during Mexican Independence, and I believe another one during Puerto Rican, celebrations. So it's just one of those things, man. Yeah, I love my city. I love the city of Chicago. It's what made me, what I am today. And I have Chicagoans. I feel like we have probably some of the biggest pride when it comes to the cities of the United States, and we go through a lot here, through the gangs, through the violence, and the drugs, and the times, whatever the case may be. We somehow always find a way to push through, and just having the support that I have from my cities is honestly like no other, because this is where I want to raise a family one day, where I want to own a gym, where I want to create different futures for people. So for them to be able to support me eventually one of these days, I want to be able to do as much possible. That's why I had my foundation. That's why I help local gyms, local athletes, and so many things. But there's just so much more I want to achieve, and it sucks at how impatient I am, and obviously time doesn't stand still. That thing just keeps moving forward, so I'm trying my best to keep up with it. But man, I have to get back to it, the proper mindset. If it's not, and I've had my low days, man. I even had a horrible start to today, but it's one of those things that I'm still alive. I'm not dead. I'm still pushing forward, and I gotta keep on doing it, because if not, I'm gonna be stuck in the same place sulking for technically no reason. Yeah, I can complain about whatever, but we all have our struggles. We all handle them in many, many different ways. But I know that I'm not alone out there, so I need to keep pushing forward like everyone else.
No, that's a great way to be, man. And I mean, that's a natural human thing. Everyone has their up moments and down moments. So good that you were able to kind of, notice it for what it is and eventually push forward from that. But I kind of also wanted to touch on some of the broadcasting work that you've been doing as of late too, because it seems like that's something you're very much passionate about. Like you've obviously done some commentary work with Brave, like one of the last times we were talking, but it seems like recently some Titan fighting broadcasting with like Jimmy Smith and whatnot has been going on. Is that something you'd like to ramp up in the future? Like we're talking about you wanting to like coach like way down the line and having aspirations like that. Are there aspirations to further like carve out a path as a commentator?
Yeah, man. For me, I've always been, a good public speaker. I've done stuff at schools. I've done stuff in, big audiences, and just having fun. And commentating for me has always been an easy thing. One of my ultimate goals, and sadly, that's probably not going to happen anymore. But I wanted to be a sports analyst and a commentator for the UFC, just like Paul Felder, just like all these guys, Tyron Woodley and all them, Dominic Cruz. And I know I'm skilled at my sport, so I know I had the knowledge to talk about whatever I see confidently, instead of just kind of winging it. And it's awesome just to have fun, to get paid, to dress up, to look nice, to have a microphone, to be on TV or a streaming service, and to be next to some of the best people in the world. I've commentated with some phenomenal athletes and even guest starred at some places that are just really fun to do. I think commentating is a easy job for me, at least. I know it's difficult for some people, just the camera, the lights, the on-the-spot moments, but it's something, I guess, high school of kind of BSing papers and kind of, making these papers 3 pages long and just kind of repeating the same thing in different orders kind of worked out really well for me. But, I have a lot of fun doing it. I know Brave wants to do the same thing. Sadly, there is a travel ban to Europe for any Americans, so I haven't been able to commentate for Brave lately, but that's definitely on the works of commentating, doing a sports analyst job for Brave, and possibly some future stuff. I've even been doing it on my IG Live of just talking to people for about half an hour to an hour of just having fun, talking to them and really trying to get to know them behind the scenes and how they got to where they're at today. Eventually I'm going to interview Michelle Watterson. Eventually I'm going to interview so many more people. I've interviewed 4 people so far with all extremely different stories, and you start to really dive deep of going like, damn, you went through this. For people who don't know me, my name is Jose Shorty Torres. I was born in a trap house. My father was a goon in a gang. I was a cocaine, weed, and steroid baby. There's a lot of things behind the scenes people don't know, and the struggles that I've been through. And I think when I put out stories like that, especially on my IG Live where everyone can see, it resonates and relates to a lot of people. And they go, man, if this guy went through it, I can do it too. Or, man, I'm going through the same thing. Maybe they relate to Michelle Watterson. Maybe they relate to Lou Trish or whoever. So it's yeah, I've been having fun. It's a lot of good practice for me, so I'm excited to see what happens next. But I want to be extremely multi-talented.
Yeah, I love seeing the growth, man, and just the natural curiosity you have with everything. But I also want to be mindful of your time, like in talking about the busy schedule and stuff like that. I presume you got a few other commitments today. So is there anything you want to sort of add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, man?
Yeah, actually, one last thing. I ended up just coming out with 2 T-shirts and a hoodie. Despite his commemorating my father's passing, it's been almost about a year. His birthday is October 2nd. His passing was technically October 8th. And, it's been a crazy run, so I definitely appreciate all the love and support people have been giving me. The 100% of the shirt sales, which is on my IG, theuniondesigns.com, was made by them. Amazing artwork. 100% of the proceeds and shirt sales will be going to my foundation, the Team Shorty Foundation, which helps keep kids, teens, and young adults inside the gym and off the streets. And I know all the gyms aren't open right now, so I've been donating sports gear, random sports gear, MMA gear, stuff like that to kids that either can train at home or go play at the parks, do something, get back on the sand line, have fun instead of being on social media, being on their phone and doing whatever. Like, I'm trying to give people a PE class at home instead of just being quarantined all the time and school online. So please, guys, I appreciate all love and support. TeamShorty.com or theuniondesigns.com, Team Shorty Foundation. And I always say we can, we will together. We're our Team Shorty. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, I've checked out those shirt designs too. Definitely looks really cool, and just I love that it's going to such a great cause as well. Always enjoy getting to talk to you, man, and I think people will enjoy this Brave CF fight coming up here. It goes on September the 24th. Sean Santella taking on Jose Shorty Torres. Really appreciate all the insights and catching up a little bit, man. Best of luck with the remaining part of your preparations here, and just enjoy the rest of your day as well.
Thank you very much. And for people who want to watch, Fight TV, FITE.tv. And if anyone has any questions for me or just wants to talk, chat, whatever, I'm more than happy. I answer all my message requests on IG. So please, guys, Jose Shorty Torres, and I appreciate all the love and support, man. Thank you, and I can't wait till next time.
Yeah, true man of the people, and yeah, just enjoy the rest of your day, man. Always good talking.
You as well.